In this video, we are going to talk about naming ionic compounds. So when we are naming ionic compounds, there are three rules. Two we are going to cover in this video, and then our third rule has to do with transition metals, which will be in another video itself. So our first rule when naming compounds is that our cation is written first. And that is the one that loses its valence electrons. Our second rule is that the anion gets an "-ide" ending. So what that means is we just change the ending of the anion to have IDE at the end of it. So for example, Cl is chlorine. With an "-ide" ending, it would be chloride. So we are going to go through how to name ionic compounds and do a few examples. So our first one, let's do NaCl. Our name for NaCl, we need to start by writing the cation first. So when you are looking at compounds, your cation will always be written first, and then your anion will be second. So you're just going to write them in the order that you see them. So for NaCl, Na is, if we find it on here, it is sodium. And so we are going to write that. That's our cation. And then Cl is chlorine. That's our anion. So we're going to write that next. But remember, our anion gets an IDE ending. So instead of chlorine, it's actually going to be chloride. So NaCl, the name of that compound is sodium chloride. So if we do another one, let's do Ca3P2. Our cation is going to be Ca. Our anion is going to be P. So our next step is to look at the periodic table and find these elements. So our first one is Ca. That is the cation. And Ca is calcium. And then P is going to be on our right side because it's an anion. It is going to be phosphorus. So Ca is calcium. P is phosphorus, but with the IDE ending, it's going to be phosphide. And there is a chart with all of the endings in our Schoology page. So our name for Ca3P2 is calcium phosphide. We are going to do one more example. We'll do Li2S. So our cation is lithium and our anion is sulfur. And so the name of that will be lithium because that is our first element, and S is sulfur. But with the IDE ending, it's going to be sulfide. So our name of Li2S is lithium sulfide. So again, to summarize, when you are naming ionic compounds, you want to put the cation first and the anion second, and then the anion gets an IDE ending.